Hello everybody and welcome back to another EP video. Regarding redistricting, Cook Political Report House Editor David Wasserman's take is that Republicans might reasonably expect to net between 0 to 10 seats from these new maps. In other words, they could gain all 6 seats that they need for House control from redistricting alone. It is important to note, however, that Wasserman did not predict that redistricting would cost Democrats their majority, or that Democrats would lose control of the House for any reason. Nonetheless, one way of looking at the race for the House of Representatives concerns what you could call the 4 Res of redistricting, retirements, recruiting, and reclamations. But according to Wassermans Count, 10 years ago, Republicans controlled the redistricting process in states with 219 congressional districts, one more than the barest possible majority of 218. This time around, it looks like the GOP is in charge in states with 188 districts. A decade ago, Democrats were in charge in states with 44 seats, but they will oversee 73 seats this time around. Independent commissions or courts ended up drawing the boundaries in 88 districts last time, but that is up to 122 this time around. And then finally, 7 districts are at large and therefore unaffected by the redistricting process. As we speak, Wasserman is methodologically plowing through and reporting the prospects in each of the 43 states that will be redrawing lines. Here are some of the factors at play. Which areas in states are either growing or losing population? The political forces at play and who the dominant players are in each of the states' line drawings. The bottom line today is that Republicans had a huge advantage in terms of being able to draw the lines 10 years ago, but now in 2021 it is a slightly smaller advantage. The 2010 Obama first-term midterm election was a disaster for Democrats on the gubernatorial and state legislative level, putting them at an enormous disadvantage in the map-making process. They have since reclaimed only a modest share since, capped off by disappointing elections in 2018 and 2020. And of course, with the Census Bureau now saying that they will not be able to send the numbers that states need to draw the maps until September, there is even more uncertainty than normal at this time. Moving on though, the second Re is retirements, which is not completely unrelated to redistricting because it is not at all uncommon for members to see an unfavorable map unfolding and simply decide that they no longer have the fight in them to deal with a very different or changing district. The political wins will also make a huge difference. If many incumbents decide that their side is unlikely to be victorious, that usually drives retirements. And the open seats created by those retirements leads us to the third element, recruiting. That is, how well will each party do in attracting strong challengers and open seat candidates? The better a party's national prospects look heading into an election, the easier it is to convince strong candidates to run. But the more dire the situation appears, the tougher the sell is for party committees. Having said that, some years do start off looking very challenging but turn out surprisingly well, as Republicans discovered in 2020. But the Democratic Party, on the other hand, found out what it was like for an election cycle to start out favorably but then turn south at the end. Finally, and this is pretty specific to our current political environment, there are reclamations, the kind of intra-party fighting that can distort the political landscape. In this particular cycle, it could be supporters of former President Trump seeking vengeance against any House GOP members who supported the certification of the Electoral College, or worse, voted for impeachment. The Republican Party's base, basically just Trump loyalists, could look to punish those who voted to evict Marjorie Taylor Greene from her committee assignments or other acts of dissent. And on the Democratic side, as was the case in 2018, it could be progressive challengers and activists seeking to unseat not sufficiently progressive incumbents. These kind of ideological litmus tests are certainly not unheard of on either side. It's just that in 2022, fighting on the Democratic side is far more likely to be on grounds of policy and ideological purity, whereas for Republicans, it will be on grounds of loyalty. That is all for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please make sure to follow my personal Instagram and EP Official on all social medias shown on screen and linked in the description down below. Also, make sure to comment your thoughts and opinions in the comment section, and please hit the like button if you like the video as well. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for watching. Check out more content from my channel here, and as always, tune in next time. EP out.